welcome back to my channel. Today I'm returning with my third Christmas journal for this year. This is the one I made from the Little Golden Book called The Christmas Story. I just realized right before I started talking that I forgot to write down all of the pertinent information. So I'm not exactly sure how many pages are in it, but that will definitely be in the Etsy listing. It does have 2 signatures. And I used the beautiful blue and gold fabric on the spine. As you saw, it's enhanced by gold rickrack, and I will show you the back very quickly because I did the same thing back there. Now this book was in beautiful condition, so I have not done anything to the corners. And on the inside, the front cover I just left intact because it's beautiful. It's in mint condition. And so here's a place to write your name. I also put a tag in here where you can do the same. I edged the inside of the corner on the outside edge with this beautiful cream colored ribbon. And then I edged the fabric on the spine with this hem lace. So it's in the same color scheme as the blue. It's kind of surprising that all 3 of my journals this year wound up being blue because that's not a color scheme I usually pick, but anyway. And also I had enough of this lace, it wound up in all 3 journals. So now I'm pretty much out of it, which is great. I'm excited to use that up. So flipping through, as you see, I've got the gold detail here. I do have a few charms scattered throughout, just like the other 2. And I am just gonna start pulling things out. Oops, upside down. This was something I received as a thank you in an order, and I loved her coffee dyed design here, so I just covered the name of her shop with this, and then I covered up the back where she'd written me the note, and this is the "This Book Belongs To" tag. So without too much explanation, I think you guys can pretty much see what I've done on everything, and some of the things are the same as what were in the last 2 journals. For instance, these little hand stamped journal cards. This little pocket that I made, I'm going to show you in a video, upcoming video, how to do that. I saw Gail Augustinelli make it a few years ago, and so I want to make a few more. I really like what it adds to the journal. This picture of Mary. Again, on a number of pages where maybe you couldn't write, I added different writings or pictures and things to dress up the page. And I noticed that this one is a little crooked, so sorry for that. You know, I'm going to zoom out just a bit because I'm having trouble staying in frame. There we go. That's a lot easier. I have the hand stamping throughout, vintage music. I have this little copy of the song "Mary, Did You Know?" And then here's that same journal card stamped on the back of all the journal cards and inked round edges. Throughout this journal I have many pages and different things from this book, "Mary, Did You Know?" It was based on the song by Mark Lowry. I took all the pages out and made tags and ephemera with them, so you'll see that in this journal. Here's our pocket we made on camera. This is one of my Christmas card tags. And here's another page from that book. So I just used it to make a journal card. And when you read this, this is an excerpt by Edith Schaefer, and she talks about Jesus is the lamb. And so I put a stamp of lambs on the back, but I'm going to hold it here for just a second. You guys can pause and read it because it's a beautiful excerpt that she wrote, but I'm not going to read it out loud on camera. Fabric ruffle. There's those little lambs again. And here's another page from the book. And we have some of these as well. There's another long skinny journal card. And then in this particular journal, all of these stamped journal cards that I have in the other 2, I went ahead and embellished them with little fabric and lace bits. So they are slightly different in this journal. As of this recording, the other 2 are still available in my shop if you're interested. Here's an envelope that I turned into a flip out. Did the same thing with the printed vellum. Mrs. Cog's images and the Calico collage images were also used in this journal, just like the other two. Now, I did remember on this journal to add my magnets. So this just clips shut. There's a little magnet in there, so you don't have to worry about this swinging open. So I was very proud of myself for remembering that. Inside here, I stamped a huge image and have a kind of an oversized journal card. I love this stamp and I hadn't used it. I was hoping to use it in all the journals, but I just love it. So I'm really glad I was able to use it in this one. Because I stamped it in black and white, I think you could probably color the image. And I did use ink that won't run with a marker, so, or just leave it black and white. Another excerpt from the book here. This is the Magnificat that Mary sang when she saw Elizabeth. And so there were little tiny pictures of Mary in that book, and I just used one here as an accent to tie in with the scripture verse there. I also included in this journal pictures from this little miniature golden book called A Stable in Bethlehem. So I made tags and journal cards and things out of it. So you will see those throughout this journal. Fabric flip. And again, more of my flashcards that I used in here and more stamping. A lot of the elements are similar to the Little Lost Angel. So here's one of those pockets like Cara McNulty sent me. My Cara McNulty pocket. I cut this out of the fly leaf, or the main title page of the little golden book, the small one. And so I just added it here. And here's another image. Here's one of the angels. This, I noticed, is a little loose here, but it's not loose on the spine. So I'm sorry about that. I tried really hard to avoid doing that when I sew in my journals, but somehow it happened, so I apologize for that. I used some gold trim in a couple of places here to accent the pages. Here we go. Here's another page from the miniature book. And then on this particular one, I cut off what was at the bottom of the page and added it to the back of the journal card. And then here is that side tuck made from a recycled Christmas card. And here's how this one looks. Washi tape along the edge there. And another fabric ruffle. I finally got to use it, the one with the angel. And then on the back side, I just added the gold trim to kind of dress up the page from the back. Here's another journal card made from the Mary Did You Know book. And I used a coffee dyed index card, oversized lines on it. And then this is one that I hand stamped that was in my stash, and another Mrs. Cog's image. She is linked below. Here is a Christmas card that I turned into kind of a flip. There's room to journal. I added the label that's made from the address labels. I made a tag to go in back. I really like this one with the gray and the winter scene. So that just slides behind there. And then down here, I have had this in my stash for quite some time. And it's this image is another part of a Christmas card, recycled Christmas card. That's one of my flashcards that's in my shop, the little words flashcards. And I just wanted something to kind of dress up the corner there. Now this one does not have a magnet. I didn't feel like that one really needed it. Here's the Rejoice gift tag. And then another image printed on vellum here. I just stamped some snowflakes to fill in the blank spaces. And now we're into signature 2. A vintage Denison label. I just layered up, ran some washi tape here, but this particular page is from the Christmas Carols Little Golden Book. I was you know, interspersing pages from this one in the other three. So I used the title page here. I thought it was really cute. The colors are adorable, and then it comes with that image right there. So didn't really need to do much to dress it up. This was, I think, the library that had discarded it. It had their stamp there, so I like how that worked out. Now this is a vintage greeting card. Oh, there's a charm here. This is a charm of baby Jesus. This is a vintage greeting card, and not only is it pretty, but when you open it up, you can open it up all the way and use all of this as secret journaling space. So that's a fun little place to hide some journaling. Another journal card made from the smaller little golden book. I selected this book here because I felt like the images inside were similar in nature to the artwork that was in here. Now this is probably one of my most favorite features. This is another magnet that keeps this shut, but the stained glass window die cut came from Celeste at Woodland Inspired. She's also linked below. And I have just been having so much fun playing with all of Celeste's things in all of these journals. So again, thank you so much, Celeste. You guys need to hurry over to her shop because she's just got the best stuff. Now it is embossed to look like a window, so I just rubbed a little walnut stain and pumice stone distress ink over it to bring out the relief. The windows, very delicately, do open, and so I positioned it so that you could see Mary and baby Jesus through the window. And then I put this tab to help open it, and then here's the picture here. I just ran some lace to make it pretty, and then I made it a pocket behind, and this is nothing super fancy, just a piece of scrapbook paper, but I stamped inside and punched the top corner with a little detail, and then the bottom corner I just left round because I think if I were to have punched that detail on the bottom, it would have just gotten ripped up as you pull it in and out of that pocket. But I just thought that was really cute. Now it still catches just a little bit on this side, so whoever gets it may need to still trim a tiny bit. I guess I just didn't get the hinge quite close enough to the edge, but it's really more for just looking and peeking and then shutting it again. More of the vintage music. This is another excerpt from a different gift book, and when I was looking at it, I just couldn't choose between the sides, so I put the whole thing in, and I always try to include things that get you thinking and that help you reflect and that kind of thing, so that when you're going through your journal, you have things that will prompt you to reflect or to write or to think. So this is a different cutout from one of those books. And then I just backed it. That's the same fabric, the ruffle that you saw earlier. I've had that in my stash for a really long time, so I was really glad to use that. This is just a scrap from one of the other pages I used in the Jumbo Journal on Friday, The Littlest Angel. So I just backed it on here. You could, if you didn't want to, he was one of the shepherds, but you could also pretend maybe he's Joseph. So just depends on who you want him to be. This is one of the pieces from the Mrs. Coggs set, Angels and Choirs. And then another card here, flips out, lots of room to write. I just added the washi tape for prettiness, added these little ruffles on both cards, just kind of as a pull tab, but also just for decoration to stick out the side. Then I made this card here, layered it up. And this one, again with the detail on the side. So, and the other two, these were a little more plain. I left them plain so, you know, the owners could do whatever they want with them. But in this one, I just wanted to doctor them up a little bit, and just, I like adding the fabric accents to pages and things. So that's what I did this time. This is a stationery for your printer, Christmas stationery, and then another thoughtful writing. This is from Whittier. And again, as you see, I did a lot of stamping on the pages. Here's the gold star. Here's the address, these vintage address labels that I just use as labels. Here's another page from the book. In fact, I incorporated two different book pages from two different books, but I like that this has a nice little space for writing on it. And then here's a Mrs. Cog image. I just layered it up. And that's an index card. Stamping, stamping. This I was melting into the green, so I just stamped it on the tan so it would stand out a little bit. Now here, this is a tag, an oversized tag, and it just opens up like this, so it's an over the top of the page tag. I stamped this little sentiment, which actually I just realized is also right here. Didn't realize I had them both so close together, but in the grand scheme, that's not the worst thing, right? And then this is a little clothespin, embellished clothespin that I made ages ago. I have a bunch of them, and I just thought it would be really nice to clip here and help that stay on the page. And then you can flip it up either way. Underneath here, I just played around with some spray. So there's a pink, a gold, and some vintage photo spray just to make the page look interesting. On this piece here, I had a piece of gold lace, and then I layered it with these flowers just to make it kind of pop off the page. And then here's another charm. Looks like a little book, says "Oh Holy Night." And I forgot to point out these charms in the other two. I didn't do a very good job, but these little book style are on, there's one in each of the other journals. Isn't there? No, there's one in The Littlest Angel. There's another one I have saved for the other journal that isn't done. Here's the center of the signature. I just tied a bow. And again, the pages that look like Old English, and then they just have such beautiful pictures on them. I just feel like they kind of stand on their own. You don't really need to do anything to them. Another one of these cards here talking about the Christmas Eve service. And again, I just left it so that you can cover this if you want, or just leave it. I talked about that in the last video too. Here's another tag, just doctored it up. I like that this is two-sided paper, so it has the snowflakes and things on the back. Another Mrs. Cog image. I'm gonna have to print them off because I was watching some of my older videos today from past Christmases and things, past Christmas journals, and I think I pretty much used all of the ones that I printed off, so it's time to print a whole other set. But I used those images in several journals, so they're very versatile, as you can see, and you can do a lot of things with them. Here's from a vintage hymnal, a Christmas hymn. I just layered it on some mulberry paper and some fabric. And then here I just got real carried away and did two stamps because I wanted the wise men and Mary and Joseph, so kind of like a nativity scene all on the same page. This is a different address label, and these, when you use them, they're kind of transparent, so it's really neat. They look like waxed paper or glassine or something like that, so they're fun to use. Another gold star image, and then here's another book page. Again, I couldn't decide on this. I wanted to read this at the end, but then I picked something else out to read at the end, so oh well. Here's another one of my journal cards. This one did not get any fabric just because no matter where I would have put it, it would have run into this, so I just left him alone other than the ink. And then another cut off scrap that I turned into a tag. He also is a shepherd, and then this is the title from one of the Mrs. Cog sets, so I just turned it into labels on this card. My words are escaping me. I'm getting tired. Now here is the vintage postcard that we picked out, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the protective sleeve. I didn't do that with the other ones, but this one came with a sleeve, and so I'm just going to leave it like that. And you don't have to keep it on there, but it will at least keep it protected until you get it home. Here, I stamped the image and layered it on mulberry paper and backed it with some of that pretty shiny metallic gold paper, and then I punched an edge and edged the page with it. And then on the back side, my third and final magnet in here, it's here and here. So this piece of lace is actually covering the magnet there. And then I just layered up some flowers here. I like this paper. It was a scrap from one of the other pages. This is, this tag was made from the cover of a music book. I think you saw me ages ago just make a bunch of things out of what was sitting around in my desk, and so that was one of the tags. So I backed it because I like the handwriting. I went with the green theme, another scrap from one of the pictures I cut off from the other journal. And then this was part of the protective covering that Celeste sent with her die cuts. And so I used the die cuts in the other journal, but this is really, it's just copy paper, so it's easy to write on. So I just like the design, and I backed it on the back of the tag, added a coordinating flower to these guys. And that's from that stamp, the Peace, Joy, Love stamp. And here's another Calico collage. Oh, I didn't do any inking on that one. I guess I was checking all of them very carefully, but I guess I missed him. Another gold trim. And then here, this is just a piece of paper, stamped, punched on the corners up there and folded, and it has kind of that marbled look to it. So that's a nice place to write. Here's one of those postcards like I included in the other two. It's got the embossed wreath on it. Heavy duty, they are really thick. And then another Mrs. Cog image that I just layered up on an index card and turned it into a journal card. This is a belly band from a vintage card. And again, you can open it up. There's writing space there, and it unfolds again so that you have lots of room to write. So belly band and hidden journaling space. Another page from Mary, Did You Know? That baby's really cute. So Mary, did you know that your baby boy is Lord? And then just a little blurb to think about on the back. Stenciling in the background. And then on this one, I added a piece of a ruffle from a ribbon, inked and stamped on it. And you can actually kind of just rest this over the edge of the card. You can tuck the card underneath the ruffle, and then it will hold everybody in place. You don't have to, but it's a nice little way to hold it in place. Here's the wise men following a star, and then here's the verse, and the Mary, Jesus, and Joseph down here. Added some more lace here, and then here's the back of that page from the other little golden book. I like how it just has this full image of the little boy shepherd, and that's the end of the entire journal. And then here's another one of these charms like I used in the other journals. Then this I just cut out on the back here. I wanted to cover the inside cover. It was in beautiful shape, just like the front, but it was just a list of all the different little golden books you could buy. And so I wanted something, I wanted to put this at the end, and I just wanted it to look a little prettier. So this is an oversized envelope that has a marbled pattern to it, and so I just laid that down and covered over the word list back here. So then I put this down. I just think it dressed up the end of the journal. I meant to put my little, this journal was made by me, my little labels that I put on there, and I forgot. So I will get one out, and I will be sending it along with the journal, and I'll put it here. And then that is the end of this journal. Now, it's taken me a while just to get all three of these done, I feel, and just because I was working and trying to get life done. I'm talking while I tie the bow. And again, I will have fray check on the ends of these ribbons so that they don't fray, but I just haven't had a second to do that yet. This is going to be my last Christmas journal, I think, because they've taken me quite some time and a lot of hours to put together, all three of them, and I think I'm just kind of ready for something different. It looks like it's hanging out the bottom of the journal, but when I put it together, it didn't look like that. So anyway, this journal's a little wonky, I guess. Anyhow, this is the last one. So again, it's getting kind of late as I'm filming this, and so I will put this up on Friday, okay? And I'll do the same thing, noon Mountain Standard Time. So I'm sorry, you're gonna have to wait a couple days for it, but there are just too many things and getting ready for Christmas and everything else. And so I am gonna forego doing the last journal. This one, he's not gonna get made. I mean, unless I just really get a wild hair and just sit down and get going and whip it out in a day. But all the pieces and parts of all of these just take a lot of time. So at this point in time, I do not plan to do this one. It is, however, only going to be one signature, so that might be a point in its favor. And there's lots of special things that are going to go in there, but I'm just tired of working on these, truthfully. So since I want to do some special things in that other journal and use some different kinds of fabrics and just give it a whole different look, it's going to take me a really long time to get that one done as well. So I'm going to quit here. Quit while I'm ahead, and then we can start working on some other stuff, okay? So I hope nobody's disappointed by that. That's just based on my schedule and my energy level. And at the moment, I am not ahead on filming videos, and so when you have to make sure that you're getting them done, there's only a day between Wednesday and Friday uploads, so right at the moment I'm struggling to keep up, so I don't want to disappoint everybody by making any more promises that I won't be able to keep. So this is it. This is the last one for 2022. I was just going through my playlist of my journal flip-throughs, partly because I wanted to remember some things that I had done in those past journals and put them in here. And so they're actually really fun to watch. And I'm not saying that to be conceited. I was actually quite fascinated, partly because I had forgotten what was in those. So if you're looking for more inspiration, check out my playlist on my channel that is called Journal Flip-Throughs. The way you get there is you go to my channel's home page, and then across the top it will have, it says Home, Videos, Community, Playlists, and About, I think is what it has all across the top. Click on Playlists, and then that'll bring up all the playlists and where I store all of my videos. Alrighty, so let's read. I have this little excerpt from Max Lucado, and I'm going to take a second here and sit down. It's a short one today, and it was from that booklet, the Emmanuel booklet that I've been reading out of. I don't have it handy, I just pulled the page over. So this says, John 1:14, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. There is no way our little minds can comprehend the love of God, but that didn't keep him from coming. From the cradle in Bethlehem to the cross in Jerusalem, we've pondered the love of our Father. What can you say to that kind of emotion? Upon learning that God would rather die than live without you, how do you react? How can you begin to explain such passion? And that's an excerpt from Max Lucado, his book, In the Grip of Grace. So reflect on that. God would rather die than live without you. I don't know about you, but that makes me cry a little bit. I am going to include this in this journal. I'll just pick a page and stuff it in there, but I wanted to read it to you first. That is it for today's video. I'm so glad you hung out with me today. I do want to say thanks and welcome to my more recent subscribers. It's just really fun, and I also appreciate getting more comments. I do have questions now for my Q&A that's going to be airing. It's the week between, it's whichever Wednesday is between Christmas and New Year's. So I believe Christmas is on a Sunday, so that'd be like December 28th would be the Wednesday, so that's when it will air. So that's fun. I got some good questions, so thanks you guys. I mean, you can still ask questions, but now I have 10, so that's a good amount. I'm looking forward to having my Christmas and kind of closing out the year, and then just starting new and just starting kind of some new projects and new things, and wanting, I'm not going to promise but this is my aim, is to start doing some scrapbooking videos and getting my kids' scrapbooks caught up, because I gave myself a 2-year deadline, December to December. So I really want to get that documentation done. And you guys can see my style of scrapbooking. It's not what it evolved into after I quit. So I have a little bit different approach, a little bit simpler style, I hope. And I'm really anxious to see how my junk journaling hobby will now affect how I do my scrapbook layouts. Okay, so I'm just rambling on, so I'm going to quit now while I'm ahead. I hope you guys will be inspired and do something creative today. Have a really great week, and I will see you again on Friday. I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.